Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be watching from, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to Infinity Broadcasting, and welcome to round number 1 of season 1 of the Legends World Challenge here for 2024. I'm your commentator here tonight, Hamish Munro, bringing you all the action through sight and sound here out at Donington Park for round 1 this season. An absolute pleasure to be here with you. If you recognise me from anywhere else, it's because I also call commentary for SRW and the VA veterans, but I am so happy and so proud to be calling the action here tonight for the Legends World Challenge, a tough little series that is going to offer up a heap of chaos, twists and turns throughout the whole proceedings, and maybe even a couple of surprise winners here, there, or everywhere throughout this season. Let's get a bit of a preview here tonight for this Donington Park race. So I'm going to call these images brought to you by Jay Kennedy over at SimSpeed. Big thank you to him for providing me with these. So trickle our way down into Donington Park in the UK, and we can check out the track map for tonight's race. It's having an absolute blinder at the moment, trying to figure out where we are in the world as we come on down. Running the national layout here tonight of this circuit. The only other variant is that Grand Prix layout where you can see the red line of the track map is, of course, this is 10 turns. It's a clockwise formation, and it's 3.1 kilometres. Really going to test the drivers here tonight. Of course, we started on the Wheatcroft straight down towards Redgate out at turn 1. Could see some big chaos there early doors as drivers tried to dive it up the inside, trying to get the maximum effort they can through the first corner. Could see them running out wide. Could even see some collisions happening early doors. And the fast run down the hill through turn 2 and up through 3 at Cranach Curves. And then it's a fast-paced run into a hard braking zone at the old hairpin for turn number 4. Again, could see some chaos, could see some dives. There's overtaking opportunities coming into play, but drivers are going to be able to pull the cars off. And Jack was saying in the chat there, full send, full time. That's what it's going to be in these cars. You've got to send them all the time to get the max out of it that you can. So old hairpin turn 4, then it's the fast run around the twists and turns of turns 5 and 6 for Starkey's Brisbane. Up towards McLean's for turn 7, another tough braking zone, another overtaking opportunity, but again, one that we could see drivers really make mistakes at. You come in through the corner, you get the car underweight, it decides it wants to flick out on you and send you out into the sand on the left-hand side. So all these drivers are going to have to be incredibly careful of that here tonight. Then it's a fast-paced run down the straight up towards turn 8 at Capice, and then the long right-hander down Starkey straight. It's a great run. If you can maximise that exit out of turn 8, you're going to get a good run down towards the S's at 9 and 10, where again, we can see some chaos happening as cars decide to hop curbs through there. Could run it out wide, could catch the grass, could end up then even being on the wall at Goddard's there at the pit entry. So it's going to be a tough track. It's a bit long, but I think it's going to be a good challenge for these drivers here tonight. And I think the international layout of this circuit is a better choice than the Grand Prix layout for tonight's race, of course. Practice is going to be finishing up very shortly. Then we're going to be getting into open qualifying. Then we've got 2 races on offer for you here tonight. We have a heat race, and then we have a feature race. Feature race is a full reverse grid. So however they grid up in this one, they'll then run through race number 1. How they finish in race 1 is then how they'll grid up in race 2, but in reverse order. So if you're struggling in this race a little bit, you fall back down the order, it's okay. You get a comeback opportunity in race number 2 because you then get to start on pole if you finished out of P last on track, of course. But it does mean the winner of race number 1 has to start at the backfield and try and work their way through the chaos, work their way through the injuries that can happen to other cars on track. See a car already spinning it off there through the final corner and almost into the wall out here at Donington. So this series is going to be a 12-round series, of course. It will offer up a heap of different challenges as we go around the globe and really test out our drivers here. I don't know why the timing on the practice is deciding that there's 0 minutes left, but there isn't. So the calendar for this season, it's going to be a big season, of course. 12 rounds, 10 to 9 rounds feels big at sometimes, but you go for 12. So we'll be running from... During the races, of course, they run on Friday nights. We're on the replay file here tonight. Friday nights started on Friday, 24th of May, out here at Donington Park for the national circuit. We end the season on the 9th of August at Belle Isle, but all the tracks in between them, we got some absolutely wild ones and some wild scenes to come for these races as well, of course. Donington here for round number 1. Next week out at Knockhill on the 31st of May. Alton Park for round number 3 at the international circuit for the 7th of June. Rudskogen for a bit of European action on the 14th of June. Then we go out to Tsukuba in Japan on the 21st of June, then to Sandown for the 28th of June. Round 7 is Mount Panorama Bathurst, going to be incredibly wild action for some drivers out there and on the 5th of July. 12th of July for Oran Park for round number 8. Winton then for the 19th of July. Then we head over to the US for our final 3 rounds. Round 10 on the 26th of July, Charlotte for the Legends Road Course. 2nd of August is for Long Beach. round out the season, as I mentioned, at Bella on the 9th of August. So a massive season ahead. Going to be some incredible action to come. But we started all here this afternoon for Donington Park. As I said, 2 races. A lot of action can come in those 2 races. And as I said, if you have a poor run in the first one, you have got that opportunity in the longer race on the second time by to really actually have a crack at it here as some drivers start to get some laps in practice as it begins to end. And we get in towards qualifying here tonight. In the chat as well, we have Jack Oz, Ash DeVries, and Jordan Ferguson. Hope to glad to have you all here tonight. Unsure why we're showing the timing tower for open qualifying, of course, as we get drivers out on track for the very first time. And a lot of them will just be trying to get that banker down nice and early, and then coming back in a little bit later on to, well, just try and get the cars warmed up, get the laps warmed up for themselves, and have a good old crack towards the end of this session, of course. 8 minutes of qualifying. It is open qualifying, so there's plenty of opportunity to get laps in. Sean Lindsell, the first car out on track in the 5.54 entry to really set the pace here in qualifying. A lot of hype around him. A lot of predictions saying he could win this whole championship. We'll have to see how it goes here tonight and if he can hold it all together throughout the proceedings. Ash DeVries in behind him. What can he do here tonight? He's a good challenger, a real veteran in terms of endurance racing. So this is a bit of a different kettle of fish for him, rocking the Rick and Morty entry in the 404 car. We'll see what he can do as well and see if he can try and muster up some courage, muster up some racecraft throughout this one and try and keep it as clean as possible in this one. These are tough cars to keep it clean, of course. Incredibly, incredibly tough. And as I said, we're not only going to be getting twists and turns this season, we're also going to be getting that chaos as well, which is one thing that drivers are going to have to contest with throughout these next 12 rounds. So the race is out there. He's ready to go. He's going to try and start his first qualifying time in just a moment here. Tyler Sheaf in behind this little battle pack with Zach Mitchell and Jordan Ferguson. They will be trying to keep it nice and clean as Jordan's had a spin round at the final corner. So chaos is already ensuing here, nice and early doors for us as we get into qualifying and drivers begin to start their first laps. Lindsell here. I hope no one gets taken out turn 1 from Ashos. We'll have to wait and see how some of these drivers go. And if you guys can survive the proceedings of this one. In the background having a sook because he wants a pat, and I'm not giving it to him, but it's fine. We've got Legends action on track, which is all we really need to care about here tonight. Some of the best times that are already on the board here tonight. Sean Lindsell, pole position at the moment with a 119.3. Then it's Ferguson P2, Mitchell P3, Anderson in P4, then Fireland, then Rowe make up the top 6. Crum, Sheaf, DeVries, Tomlin, Grech, and Morris make up the rest of the running order. A little bit of a discrepancy in the lap times, around about, or just under 3 seconds separate all 12 drivers, but should be okay here tonight. Calm down. Oh, geez. He's really having a sook at me right now, but nearly 3 minutes into qualifying here. 5 minutes to go, just about. Of course, no live race control as of yet for this series. It is just free running. We check out incidents after the races happen if they need to be reviewed and put into either post-race or pre-race penalties for the next round if they need to be put into place, of course. But Lindsell setting the pace here early with that 19. We'll see if he can hold it together here through qualifying. Ferguson is in amongst the traffic at the moment. A lot of, we'll call them eclectic liveries on these cars. Jack was saying Doggo wants the cheese tax payment. I think he wants the PAT tax payment. He wants me to pay a PAT to him. We'll give him one. We'll see if he feels better about it. A lot of eclectic liveries, obviously, in this series as well. Wanted it to try and feel as fun and as entertaining as possible, even for the driver's perspective, trying to get some personalities into the cars, of course. Some of them are welcome to run their own team liveries, but a lot of them do just prefer to run some more eclectic choices out there on track. So, you see Jordan Ferguson running the rare Pepe livery, matching his helmet inside the car, of course, as he tries to his way down his ends here in the UK, the only English driver in the field. The rest of them all from the old glory Australia as well. But we'll see if Fergo's ready to go here tonight. Crummy, well, we know he's got some pace across different series that he races in, whether it's SRW, whether it's GSRC, whether it's just even officials. He is a really talented operator, of course, the most famous man in the Toyota GT86 field. Also the world's most famous transporter driver as well. We'll see if he can hold it together for this race. But we know he's got pace. He has got his teammate Chop with him out there, Chris Tomlin. We'll see if they can work together in the Duff and Lego liveries on their cars as Fireland moves up to P number 5 after that previous lap, 120.311. He looks strong in this series, of course. He'll be a little bit of a minnow amongst a bunch of piranhas. The majority of the field know each other, where Fireland is really the unknown. You know, he's joined the series outside of the friend group that really organised this one, and he's here really to make an impact and try and make a claim to this series early doors. We'll see what he can do throughout proceedings, of course, as well. Rod Morris really struggling to get a time in here in qualifying, 131.76 from the snap-on rep. So we'll see if he can tighten himself up and just try and snap onto a lap time here in qualifying. As we have got 2.5 minutes to go here, just about to the end of qualifying. Then we're going to get into the first race here tonight. We'll then have a little break, a little bit of a warm-up session, then into the final race of the evening. Race number 1, though, could be important for drivers. You can get the win early. It means you just got to try and get up towards the field from the back. Just try and maximise points in the second run. And that could claim you the round win here very, very easily. Very tough to come back from a poor performance in race number 1. And then try and back it up with a positive one in race number 2. So you've got to try and get race number 1 under your belt as best as you can. Fireland lets Mr. Kyle Grech go in the Pedro livery. Of course, running the raccoon on it. Pedro. A nice little mascot for these drivers out on track. They really try and get up to grips with these cars. Of course, as the season goes on, they will get faster. They will get a lot more used to them. And they will become a lot more accustomed to how these cars drive, how hard they can push them, and how much more they can get lap times out of them as well, at a multitude of circuits all around the world, of course. So we'll just hope and pray that we get a good bit of chaos about it. It's unknown territory, to be honest. Completely unknown territory. It's an uncharted ground for myself, calling the action of some legends. But I do love some wheel-to-wheel racing, do love some tin-top racing as well, and I will try and not only do these drivers and these cars justice, but also do the viewers justice as well. We're trying to bring you the best action that we possibly can here for Legends World Challenge. Entries are still open, of course. If you want to enter the series, the Discord link is in the description of the stream. You guys can get involved, join the Discord, sign up for the series, fill out the forms, and we'll get you in for the next round after you sign up for the series, of course. So still a long way to go, even if you've only missed round number 1. Not every driver may make every single round. There will always be opportunities to make back points through the chaos that can ensue. As we can see, Mr. Grech just struggling a little bit on the tyres there in the back end. Johnny Rowe, his livery still hasn't fixed for me. It's still running in the bluey. It should be a nice special golf cart livery, but unfortunately it's not working for us here tonight. Hopefully we can get that fixed up for next time on track. Ashton Rees in chat saying, Pedro. Well, good to have Pedro out on track. Qualifying is coming to an end though. Only 10 seconds to go. As you see Kyle cutting a burnout in the background. Hopefully he doesn't do too much of that here tonight. Qualifying has ended though, and we will get ready to go racing here for race number 1 of the season out here at Donington Park. Starting grid for tonight's race, of course. We start out with Sean Lindsell on pole position, ahead of Jordan Ferguson out of P2, so a bit of an international flavour on the front row of the grid. Zach Mitchell and Jack Anderson will then make up the second row of the grid here tonight, ahead of Bones Fireland and Johnny Rowe in P5 and P6. Luke Crum and Tyler Sheaf will then start P7 and P8, ahead of Ash DeVries and Chris Tomlin making up the top 10. Just outside the 10 on the final row of the grid, we have got Kyle Grech and Rodney Morris making up the grid here tonight. A short, sharp grid. There are some other drivers who signed up for the series, unfortunately couldn't make round number 1. We'll hopefully be able to see them on track for round number 2. Of course, cameras also provided by Jay Kennedy. Appreciate Jay for helping me get some really, really cool cameras for us to check out cars on circuits around the world as well. Ashton Rees saying shout out to Bryson watching at home. Great to have you in there, Bryson, watching us here at Legends World Challenge. Hopefully we can get you into the chat soon enough. Get us chatting. Let us know what you think of the series, of course. And, well, just get involved. You know, we love a bit of banter. We love a bit of a chirp in the chat. Jordan saying he prefers the bluey livery anyway. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that's going to pay dividends for for Mr. Johnny Rowe on track. Drivers have about 30 seconds to get onto the grid from this point. Lights will then go up and we will get ready to go racing. Jack was asking, when can we expect Bryson the Bison in the series? Hey, why not? Get him in, you know. Friday nights, have a bit of a cook around a track. It's only an hour-long session or so. Have a good time with us here in the Legends World Challenge. Just waiting for Jordan Ferguson to get to the line. He is on the grid now. 10 seconds to the lights going up. And for Season 1 of the Legends World Challenge to get underway here out at Donington Park. Not long to go for them. They just got to try and keep it nice and clean off the start and down towards turn 1. Revs are going to rise. Let's go racing at Donington. Who's going to get the jump down towards turn number 1? We wait for Barney to wave the flag for us here at Donington Park. 12 cars, 12 drivers, and some feisty little machines in these little Legends Ford Coupe 34s. They offer a multitude of challenges to drivers on track. Gridding has started. Lights are going to go up for them. And we are ready to go as Lindsell has jumped the start off the line. We are now green flag, and the Polstead is going to get a drive-through penalty for jumping the start there as we come down towards turn 1 for the very first time. Already absolute scenes here as we start round turn 1 for the first time. There's been contact with Grech and with Tomlin in through turn number 1, and he's also ended up off the track with De Vries as well. Absolute scenes early doors here as we come down the hill for the first time. Lindsell leads to Ferguson, to Filan, to Anderson, to Mitchell, to Sheaf, to Crum, to Rowe, to Morris, to Gretsch, to Tomlin, to De Vries. And obviously the early asterisk on the doors is Lindsell jumping the race start. And will get a drive-through penalty for that one. Could be giving up the win early doors in this race here tonight. I just realised we're not running lap times. Or lap numbers, sorry. We're running times, but Lindsell already building a nice little gap here over Jordan Ferguson in the background. Filan had a great start up 2 spots into P3. Anderson back where he started in P4. Mitchell's down 2 after a bit of a bog start early doors here. Ferguson's boot is Jack's reaction to that crash there, lap number 1. The field's already spread just a little bit here as we come down towards the chicane for the first time. But Lindsell, well, the asterisk over his head, meaning that he will likely have a drive-through for that massive jump start. As there's been a turnaround in the background. That was Zach Mitchell into the wall there. He's already gone off early doors here at the final corner. And he's now going to drop down towards the back of the field. He's got Ash De Vries coming through here trying to chase down. As these drivers, it is becoming a proper test for them to try and muscle these cars around here. Tyler Sheaf on the back of Filan as he battles it out with Anderson here for P3 on the road. All these drivers up a couple of positions. Now that Mitchell's dropped down 8 towards the back of the field. Rose down 1 in amongst this battle as well. Early doors. It is early doors. with so much chaos lap 1 already, a lot of things can happen in this one as we continue on forward throughout the proceedings of this race. Morris has had an incident in the background. I believe he's ended up off track. He's all the way in the dirt. Get himself some mower blades. He's trying to cut some grass here in the paddocks of Donington as Lindsell leads them round up towards the final couple of corners now. But it won't be too long until Jordan Ferguson takes the lead because Lindsell does need that drive-through thanks to jumping that race start. So the effective race leader is Ferguson at the moment. So they come on through. Ferguson is trying to keep it nice and clean through the final couple of corners. Anderson following him behind. Got heavy pressure from Filan coming up onto the back of him at the moment. This battle just beginning to materialise and intensify. Tomlin's got Mitchell all over the back of him as well as they come down the straight. This is the battle for P9 on the road inside the top 10. De Vries not too far off the back of this. Mitchell up the inside. He comes on through. He takes P9 on the road and now looks ahead to this man, Kyle Gretsch, in the Pedro livery. Number 19, Johnny Rowe trying to chase down Luke Crum at the moment. Dr. Crum, of course. Ronnie Morris is really struggling in the background. He's had a heap of off tracks already in this one. So, real learning curve for him in these cars. And you see these battles just starting to materialise, as we mentioned. Closest battle on track is this one Anderson and Filan with Sheaf in behind them. Could be getting into a little bit of a fatal five-way in a minute with Crum and Rowe on the back of them. Anderson's running a little bit wide as Filan comes down, tries it up the inside of him. Wants to get the run down towards the final corner. Anderson versus Filan into the braking zone. Who's going to get maximum effort through here? Filan backs out of it as Anderson then runs it deep under brakes, manages to carry the speed through there, and they try again for another lap as Lindsell's now come in to serve his drive-through penalty, so he'll now drop down the order as Ferguson now takes the lead with Anderson on the podium as well as Filan. Just about 4 minutes into this 15-minute race for heat number 1 here tonight out at Donington Park. So on board with Sheafy here. He looks to be absolutely feisty on the back of Filan, just ahead of him here as they continue to battle it out. But just quickly, Grex had a massive moment in the background. He's managed to drop a couple of spots. He's now lost out to Mitchell and a fast approaching Sean Lindsell. We may have to keep an eye on Sean here because you know he's got the pace. Obviously, he had the car on pole. And now it's a fight back for him to try and get the car back through the field, back up towards the front to Jordan Ferguson in P number 1 on the road at the moment. Bryce in the chat saying a long time, still no setup, focusing on my own car at the minute. Well, a rig is a car, Bryson. Surely you can. Gretsch, sorry, Kyle Gretsch. I'm used to calling another person's race who has the same last name, but they pronounce it completely different. He's just pure. I don't know what the word is. That's just how I normally say it, but I know that Kyle's last name was Gretsch, not Breck. He's running into the dirt a little bit in the background. Lindsell trying to get the run here on Zach Mitchell up towards turn number 1. So they make their way up now on board here with Lindsell. He's trying to get the outside line on Mitchell here. Mitchell defending the inside. Goes for the switchback here from Lindsell. And that is a textbook move there from Sean, who now gets the position off of Mitchell in behind him. Now, rig is multiple cars, Jordan. That's right. Multiple cars. Alpha Lindsell. It is. That was an alpha move right there. An alpha overtake from Sean Lindsell. He made it look absolutely easy. Absolutely textbook on Mitchell there. As you can see DeVries and Tomlin battling in the background and Gretsch in the middle of this little battle pack sandwich. As Mitchell tries to come back at him here down the inside at the next corner. Lindsell gets out of it. Keeps in the battle though in behind him. Maybe going to try and force the move down at the hairpin. Or even down at the chicane ahead. Or a little bit of a drift from both of them through that corner. As the battle ahead is just checked out. Mitchell's really holding up Lindsell here. As Rowe is already out to about a 7.9 second gap back to P8 on the road. The characteristics of the vehicle. I'd say they're obviously these are an H pattern shift under a clutch to really get the shifts done properly. I'd say these are they're really aggressive, but they're very, very difficult to kind of control on track. You've really got to wrestle them around corners. They want to slip out. Oh, as we can see there, Mitchell nearly costing himself an incident. Lucky to catch it, though. They're a real wrestle. They're a real arm wrestle around a circuit. A lot of, fixing of your steering and fixing of where your car's being placed. You see there, just Lindsell having to catch it on exit. It wants to slip. It wants to pull out. Of course, these cars normally run on an oval, so not really used to doing right-hand turns. As Mitchell's had an incident in the background, he's now fallen off the track as we continue on. So unfortunately for him, he's now out of that battle and it looks on ahead, trying to catch the rest of the field. So, they're little short, sharp, really little pocket rockets. You get them out of a corner, you get the run out of a corner, you get the power down enough without slipping the wheels on the grass, obviously. And they just rocket up to the next corner. But you can have these nice little tight door-to-door battles with each other on track. But you are wrestling it all the time. So even 15 minutes of a race can be quite difficult, quite fun, but can still be quite difficult as well. As Grech and DeVries start the battle now through the final corner. As they come on through. Tomlin comes through the final corner in behind them as well. As we come up. Oh, that's a car off track. That's Mitchell off track, and that's him into the wall. That is a big, big incident here halfway through the race. He's now dropped out off the track. Whether we'll see him back out there or not, that is yet to be answered. But he is now at the back end of the field. And that was big, big damage on that car, on that front end. So early on into the season. So he'll be hoping to maybe get on track in race number 2 and just have another crack in this race as well. But Ferguson leads with a nice little lead here of 2.9 seconds over Jack Anderson in P2. It might have been understeer, Jordan. It might have been understeer. It might have been an old scan of the track as well. Synchronised lawn mowing. It was all synchronised lawn mowing. As these guys continue their battle, coming out all the way up on the podium. Both him and Sheafy have now managed to jump Fireland onto the podium here. As they continue in their line, settling into their groove now. This is the closest battle on track. They're just settling into their groove, trying to keep it nice and clean. As I mentioned, it's a bit of a wrestle. Got to be able to get the tyres up to temp. Just try and wrestle them around this track. But you'd hope, being at round number 1, the drivers would be ready to go, ready to have a bit of an arm wrestle with them. It's Crummy, you know, he's a talented operator. Does a lot of 8.6 driving, some supercars, some endurance stuff as well. Same with Anderson, Sheafy. He does some open wheelers too, and some dirt racing as well. So these drivers have got a good pedigree about them across a whole heap of different categories. It's whether that could all come together here tonight in such basic machinery of a Legends car. You know, these are realistically a real basic machine. You know, 5 to the floor, clutch in the pedal box. No power steering whatsoever. It's just you wrestle it through. And you're just trying to keep it as clean as possible throughout proceedings. Comes around the final corner. Let's sit with him here for a lap. Oh, but Anderson's gone off the track. That might give Crum the run that he needs up towards P number 2 as Anderson may have a slowdown here. Crummy trying to get the toe if he can on the inside. And down he comes towards turn 1. Sheafy's hungry for the position as well. We're just starting to heat up a little bit here. Crummy's now through to P2. Sheafy wants it down the inside of Anderson as well to get onto the podium for race 1. Anderson somehow holds onto it in the background. And Fireland just trying to keep it nice, cool, calm and collected and stay within the hunt of this battle as well. Lindsell's now on the back of Johnny Rowe, but he may just make quick work of him in the future. Currently 11.5 minutes into proceedings. Only one driver out of this race so far. As Anderson putting all sorts of pressure here on Dr. Crum. In the Duff Beer entry in P2 on the road at the moment. They can see the leader in Ferguson. He's just there in the Rare Pepe livery. As they continue on forward up towards the final sector of this track. We were going to sit on board with Crummy last lap, but we'll sit on board here with Anderson as the battle continues between them both. So we now got 3 minutes to go in this race. Anderson wants it down the inside of Crum. Hooks it over the curb, gets the move done. Big slide on exit. As Sheafy now is all over Crummy as well. He's trying to stay with him here. He's trying to stay within the fight. He's got Fireland alongside him at the moment. Down towards turn number 1. The battle's intensifying. Sheafy up the inside of Crummy, but Crummy trying to hold the outside line as best he can. Sheafy has to pull back in behind. Nearly gets it off the track in the meantime, and now he's under assault here from Fireland, who takes back that position from Sheafy into P4 on the road. As Anderson now tries to look and check out from this battle. As Fireland's now all over Crummy. They're just trying to stay within the battle. Big slide as they push these tyres to the absolute limit at Donington Park. Just about 2 minutes to go for them to maximise on these battles, trying to continue the fight between themselves, trying to keep their heads cool, calm and collected. As Crummy continues on at the head of this battle, Ferguson's about to lap Rodney Morris. You can see Lindsell in the background. He's really starting to fight back in this one as well. You know, he has the pace. Hopefully, he cannot get another jump start in race number 2 and try and fight his way forward up towards the lead. Of course, reverse grid format. We'll see him starting P5 on the road in the next one. Filan is still battling it out. Sheafy's had an incident in the background, and that's now going to drop him out of that battle as Lindsay finds himself now P5 on the road and past Sheafy, and the pressure just got to him there in the end, and now it's a 1v1 with Crummy and Filan in the battle for the final podium position here as Anderson looks to check out. Ferguson's already gone. We've got about 60 seconds, about 70 seconds on the clock. This could possibly be the final lap of the race, but we may get one more. What an intense couple of minutes that was there for a moment. You see Rodney Morris off the track. He lets these guys go now, all the top four. Continue on. Will Filan keep putting the pressure on Crummy in this one? Or will he just settle into that P4, claim the points? Look ahead to race number 2. Ferguson in the lead as this battle continues. Up towards the final corner he comes. So it looks like we may get one more lap here in this one. As Ferguson comes round, the Englishman showing up all these Aussies on track. Down towards the line. Barney's out with the white flag. One lap to go until Jordan Ferguson can make history and become the first driver to ever win a Legends World Challenge race. You always remember the first. You ever remember the second? Or maybe not as much. Ferguson will be looking to make that history here tonight. Put a stamp on this championship. You know, he'd be leading the championship into race number 2 in a couple of moments' time. He'd be starting from the back of the field, but that's okay for him. He's be looking to consolidate some points. Maybe make another comeback through the field throughout the chaos. Of course, longer race in the second one here tonight. For these proceedings, the Legends World Challenge. As he comes round up towards the final couple of corners now. Lindsay couldn't do enough to come back in this one, maybe 5 minutes too short to get back on the podium. Big slide here from Ferguson onto the straight, does well to keep it in check. And down towards the final chicane for Jordan Ferguson in the Pepe livery, the number 21 Legends car through the final couple of corners now. And Jordan Ferguson is the winner of not only race number 1, he's the first ever winner in the Legends World Challenge as he has a big slip for us there on the line. Anderson pulls it off the track as well. That was an intense one for them. Crummy as well. It's synchronized off tracks between them as Filan and Lindsay come through. Sheafy comes home in P6. Rojo in P7. DeVries outlasts Chris Tomlin into P8. Tomlin P9. Greg makes up the 10 and Morris a lap down and in P11 here tonight. We still got another race to come, Bryson, so there's still more opportunities for DeVries to have a good old crack here in tonight's races. As we can see the burnouts happening here from Ferguson. Gets the first win of the season, checks that box off, and now looks ahead to the next round of this season. Well, looks ahead to the next race here tonight, of course. Second race on offer for us. Big burnouts to come for these drivers out here at Donington Park. Wow, what a first race for us there. What a phenomenal showing by these guys. An absolute wrestle on track. Some good little battles on hand as well. As we now look ahead to our warm-up session for the drivers just to have a little break. Maybe have a little bit of an expression session. Maybe just even try and cool the jets for a moment. Go get a drink. Go to the toilet as well, if they have to, as the expressions are still happening here down on the main straight. So they're having a good amount of fun here tonight. Let us know what you thought of race number 1 in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Still one more to come here tonight. As we've got the warm-up happening now, we'll see if anyone's going to join us on track. And see how they approach race number 2. Obviously the question on everybody's lips right now is, what happened with Mr. Linzell off that start line, as Mr. Morris is now out on track, trying to get a bit more practice in under his belt for this warm-up session. Of course, he has pretty much 2 minutes. It's about a lap's worth when you come out of the lane. He's trying to get as much practice as he can in the number 41 car. And any of the drivers in the chat, let me know what you thought about the track, what you thought about the track-car combination. As Morris has a big hit into the wall there. Really is struggling, and he's going to need some spare parts for that one. Hopefully not as charged as much as what he charges for things in his day-to-day, but only a minute left now until race number 2, so we're not that far away from the proceedings continuing here tonight for the Legends World Challenge on Infinity Broadcasting. If you haven't already, hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon so you are notified any time we go racing with this series. Of course, 12 rounds in this season. Jack was saying Rodney jumped in, never driven these cars before. Hey, you know what? He had a crack. That's all you can ask. And he's looking to put the front foot forward, you know, trying to get better, try and get better as a driver and in these cars as well. But yeah, as I mentioned, if you haven't already, hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon. You want to get notified when we go racing with these cars, as when he has a big slide there off the curvature. Was 12 rounds this season. Next round next week out at Knock Hill. Then out to Alton Park to end out our little UK run of rounds to start out the season. We then head over to Rudskogan, of course, for round 4. And then we have a nice little Australian tour to come here this season. Of course, with Sandown, or Tsukuba, and then into Australia for Sandown, Mount Panorama, Alton Park, and Winton. And you get out in the US out at Charlotte, Long Beach, and Belle Isle. As the drivers are getting gridded up for race number 2. Let's get our starting grid for tonight's second race of the evening up. It's only going to show me race number 1. That's a bit rude of it. That is a bit rude. What we'll do then is we will bring up our results, our provisional results for race number 1. This will be how they line up in race number 2, but reverse order. So it was Ferguson in P1 who finished ahead of Anderson, Crum, made up the podium. Then Filan, Linzell, Sheaf, Rowe, De Vries, Tomlin, and Gretsch make up the top 10. And then Morris making up the rest of the running order. Mitchell never finished. The reverse order, though, for the grid would be Morris to Gretsch to Tomlin to De Vries to Rowe to Sheaf to Linzell to Filan to Crum to Anderson and Ferguson on the last row of the grid. Jack was saying, which track are you looking forward to the most for the season? I got to agree with Chop. I'm looking forward to Long Beach. That's going to be absolutely exceptional. And I think the chaos that can ensue around there is really going to be fun for these cars. It's going to be so fun to see these things just whip around that track, try and avoid the walls. I'd say anyone can win those rounds. To be honest with you, anyone could win Long Beach. Anyone could win Belle Isle. Knowing how much chaos it can bring, and those walls, you know, those concrete walls are really an unknown factor, and who they could really suit in the proceedings. So we will. Hey, Belle Isle will be good too, Shoz. Belle Isle will be good too. I'm looking forward to Sandown as well. I think Sandown's going to be quite good in these cars. Rudskogan's the unknown. Whether that's going to have a part to play in how this championship order runs at the end of the season, of course. But yeah, I think those last 2 rounds, the Long Beach and Belle Isle, going to be absolute chaos, but I am all here for it. Could completely change the landscape of the championship in those final 2 rounds. Gridding is up, though. Lights are going to go up, and we are going to go racing for the second time here tonight out at Donington Park. Morris on pole ahead of Gretsch as they get away. No jump starts, it appears, off the line, as Morris leads them down towards turn number 1 here tonight as they come on through. They spread all out over the circuit as they come on through. Gretsch dive down the inside, and there's been contact with the leader and Morris into turn 1. Gretsch has taken out the leader, Rodney Morris, there through turn 1, who got the pole after finishing a lap down in race 1 in his nights, and they're going from bad to worse. Sheafy's now in amongst the battles as well. You see Anderson and Rowe in amongst the crowd. Having a good battle here for P6 on the road. Crummy's not too far ahead of them as Rowe runs it out wide, and he's now going to drop out of the battle too. Ferguson's already having a great run up the order so far. As we continue on, Tomlin leads the way with De Vries in second place, to Lindsell in third. Filan P4, Crum in P5, then Sheaf, Anderson, Ferguson, Rowe, Morris and Gretsch. Fork dive there. It was poor form. That was poor form from Kyle. Just absolutely, that was an Olympic level dive. Up the inside there into turn number 1. Mitchell has not returned for this second race of the evening, unfortunately for him. We have 11 running on this race at the moment. Tomlin leads the way with De Vries in behind. Lindsell's fast approaching. Anderson spun it round though at the final corner, and he's now going to find himself out of that battle for the top 5 on track. As we continue on, at the moment Luke Crum is leading the round if we were to finish like this. And he is looking to win the round here tonight. He did finish P3 on the road in race number 1. He's quite a fair bit up the order from Ferguson, who won race number 1. Anderson's a bit further back as well. So Crummy looking good here to win this first round of the season. But Tomlin's under all sorts of pressure here from De Vries. Up at the front of the field, the 404 versus the 212. Chop in the chat saying, only time you'll ever see my name P1. Jaguar saying we'll start from rear of grid race 1 next round for those crashes. Oh, as it's been contacted with Lindsell and Sheafy as well. Sheafy's now dropping down the order. Tomlin's now lost the lead after running it out wide. Crummy, his teammate, wants it up the inside of him as De Vries takes the lead here on towards lap number 3. Filan's in behind him. He's had a nice consistent round so far. Finished just off the podium in race number 1. As the battles continue here onto the main straightaway. And it is De Vries that leads the way by 0.4 of a second. And chops all over the back of Crum. As there could be an ensuing battle coming in a moment when Lindsell gets on the back of this as well. We know he's got the pace. And he has been just trying to force his way forward throughout the night. Especially after that race 1 jump start, of course. De Vries, though, is looking like an absolute monster. Runs it wide. Crummy's in behind him. He looks to attack him like an injured gazelle. See him all over him here up towards the top of the hill. Doesn't want to give him anything on track. Does the number 30. The Duff Beer entry, of course, and all the pressure right now is on Mick Baggs Schozzle at the front of the field. Runs it a little bit wide though as Crummy comes on through into the lead of this race. And all of a sudden, after only 3 laps on the road, we've changed leaders 4 times in the span of those 3 laps. De Vries wants to move again. Crummy holding the middle line on the track. As we continue on, but De Vries has lost it through the final corner and he's out of the podium position. He has absolutely bottled it there, and all of a sudden he's now in a battle with Anderson, who cuts him off on the straight, possibly giving him a little bit of a chirp there as he came past. Boaz in the chat saying, send it, great to have you out here, Tyler. Filan's in an absolute war with Johnny Rowe at the moment here for P5 on the road. As these guys continue on, but Crummy leads the way. The battles are here, there, and everywhere here tonight, as they seem to have always been. Lindsell's all over the back of Tomlin. Filan and Rowe battling it out hard as Anderson and De Vries tried to come back from their mistakes early doors. Same with Sheafy as well. These battles are, they are just intensifying. Of course, it's a 25-minute race here for race number 2. We're 5 minutes into the proceedings. Tyler Bond in chat saying, get the dogs. Park the bus and get the dogs. As Chopper's got all sorts of pressure here from Lindsell. And what Crummy will be doing now, he's got Ferguson P4 on the road. Crummy's now got to check out. He can't let Ferguson get P3, otherwise they equalise on points of the round, and Ferguson gets the round win on countback for starting pole, or starting higher up in the order for qualifying. And so Crummy now, he needs Ferguson to stay where he is. He needs Lindsell to hold him back as Anderson has another incident in the background. Seen back there. So Crummy now, he leads the way. He needs Ferguson to keep this thing off the podium. He can't have Ferguson on the podium now. Because as soon as he gets to P3, even P2, he's winning the round. So Crummy's going to try and check out. Hope his teammate Chop does the job for him and holds Ferguson off the podium. He's got Linzell all over him as well. Linzell may open up the door for Ferguson to come on through and take that third position. We'll have to wait and see how it all works out. But these battles are absolutely heating up here at Donington Park. And it's early doors already. Oh, man. It's making me lose my breath a little bit. I am having an absolute blast of a time as Linzell all over Chop at the moment. Trying to keep him in check, trying to chase down the leader in Luke Crum. Bit of a wheel there from Linzell in the background. He just tries to hang on to the back of Chop as he off the front of the Lego car. Trying to keep it nice and clean down towards the chicane. Will this be the championship battle? Will it be Crum versus Linzell versus Ferguson? Or will there be some sneaky contenders that rise up through the rankings throughout proceedings? Maybe even contenders we haven't seen yet this season as Linzell shoots the half down the inside of Tomlin. He tries to defend as best he can. Is it a foregone conclusion? No. Sean backs out of it. Continues the battle now, and this three-pack little triple threat is continuing as Crummy looks to run away with it here early doors. 7 minutes and 16 seconds into proceedings. Still a long way to go. Still longer to go than we had in the first race. Anything can happen, of course. We already saw the chaos that ensued race number 1. Hopefully they can hold it together here for race number 2 and continue these intensifying battles going forward, of course. $1 every time I say early doors, Shoz. Okay. We're not early doors anymore. We're 7 minutes and 45 seconds into this race. As Ferguson and Linzell come past Chop, they get the move done. And now they look ahead to Luke Crum, who all of a sudden is now losing the round as old mate Chop has now lost that podium position and has allowed Ferguson through. He had one job, and he's absolutely cooked it here. I mean, Sean opened up the door for Ferguson. He just followed him through. That was all it was. He just stuck with him, kept on following through there, and now onto the podium. And they look to chase down Luke Crum. So all Crummy can do now is hope and pray that Jordan falls off the podium so he can claim the round win and the race win here tonight. But if he loses the lead to Linzell, it'll pretty much be all but over for him in terms of this round win here tonight. So he needs to try and keep it nice and clean. Boa saying keyboard and mouse, mate. Oh, I don't know about that in these things. That'll be a proper struggle. We'll have to see how it goes. You try and fit a rig into your caravan, Boas. That'll be the go. Sim from anywhere, mate. Saying, oh wait, that's me. That's you, Crummy, up the front, leading the way. We're in race number 2. Chop in the chat saying, when you're not fast, all I could do, why try hold them off as long as I could, and that's all I had. Oh well, I guess that's all you can do at the end of the day. Chop is give it your best, try and hold them off as best you can, as you mentioned, and you know, they get past you, they get past you. As we come up towards the, not quite close enough to the halfway point just yet. We're just about on to 10 minutes into this race here tonight. Crum leads to Linzell to Ferguson, to Tomlin to Filan to Rhoda to Vries to Anderson to Gretsch to Sheaf at the moment. Morris is at the back and he is just about a lap down here over Crummy. They got pasta, I mean pasture. Crummy, how did Mrs. Crum find your label making skills this morning when she found them? How'd that go for you? Pasta. We're already moving on to food apparently. I'm making pasta sauce tonight. It's going to be good. And some of these battles on track. The Vries now putting all sorts of pressure on Johnny Rowe. Up into the triple right. Sheafy's had a moment in the background. Favourite type of pasta? Gnocchi. Gnocchi is my favourite type of pasta, Shows. Creamy no, I'm not making creamy pasta sauce. I'm making a meat sauce. Not bolognese, but meat sauce with Italian tomatoes. I know gnocchi is potato, but it is pasta. Pasta's technically bread. They make potato loaves as De Vries. He has a little bit of a wiggle. Meat sauce. Oh, yeah. Love a bit of meat sauce, mate. It's good. It's a good time. Oh, carbonara gnocchi. Oh, fantastic. I'm a fan as well of sweet potato gnocchi. It's a good time. As this battle continues, De Vries has now offloaded Johnny Rowe, moves up into P6 on the road. He's up 3 positions in this one. Most positions gained so far goes to both Tomlin and Crum, as over both races. They're both up 6 positions. Chicken pesto pasta. Oh, well, that does sound pretty good. Big oft. As Rowe comes back at De Vries and gets back up into P6 now. So they're swapping and changing positions like kids trading Pokemon cards in the schoolyard. But they're continuing on. You love to see it halfway through the race. They're having a good battle. They're having a crack. They're pushing the cars to the absolute limits. And you know what? We've still got half a race to go. And if they continue on like this, well, we're going to have a great show on our hands. And it's looking like a good season ahead. Well, if Johnny can make it tough enough, maybe Ashos will need the portal gun to try and get past him as he tries to run it down the straight. Shoz gets past, up in towards turn 1. Anderson's now getting sucked back into the battle in behind as well, as he hopes to make this a 3-way dance between them here at the halfway point of this race. Linzell is now all over the back of Luke Crum at the front end of town, and he looks to put the pressure on the race leader at the moment. If Linzell gets past him, that could be round win done and dusted for Crummy. The possibilities of it, of course. Ferguson's already on the podium, so he's equalising the round win with Crummy, but he would get it on countback due to qualifying positions. He either needs Ferguson to drop off the podium. Well, he needs Ferguson to drop off the podium. There's no either. He needs Ferguson to drop off the podium to win the round. All Ferguson needs is either to stick where he is, keep Crummy where he is, or have Linzell pass him. And that'll make his life a whole lot easier. On board now with Linzell. Fastest man in qualifying, of course. He's been the fastest man at this race. 1:19.79 is his best lap time across the races here tonight, as he continues the battle once again ahead of him here with Luke Crum. There's been a battle in behind with Rowan Anderson. Rose had a big moment down at the final corner, and he's now dropped out of the battle with De Vries and Anderson as we look up back towards the front end of town. Tomlin's got a great battle going on here with Fireland. This is the battle for P4 on the road. Crummy, though, under heaps of pressure from Linzell at the top end of town. About 11 minutes to go here. But now you have to wonder, when do you throw the dice? When do you have a crack? When do you just chuck the cheeky dive bomb in? Calculated, of course, unlike the lap 1 dive bomb that we saw. Kyle Gretsch is, I believe, he's still well around. He's got big damage on him. He's at the back end of field, though. Sheafy's now in the pit lane as well. So what do you do here? You know, do you roll the dice? 10 minutes to go of the race. Go for the move. Maybe just keep the pressure on the car ahead. Make sure, try and hope that they wear the tyres down a little bit, and then hopefully you've looked after your tyres. You can move past them later in the race. Crummy saying my tyres felt like pasta here. What kind of pasta, Crummy? What were your tyres al dente? Were they just perfectly cooked? Sheafy now comes out of the pits ahead of the leader, so he should go a lap down here in just a moment's time. He's come in for tyres, as we've now passed the threshold that was race number 1. Look on to our extra 10 minutes as Crummy tries to hold off Mr. Linzell at the front end of the field. What a filling your raviolis at the moment. What have you filled the tyres of ravioli with, Crummy? Jacko's saying, if I was Jordan, I'd hope Sean sends it and gather up the crowd. Come on to that one, take it and muster up, Jackals. Yeah, obviously, Jordan will be hoping big squishy. Jordan will be hoping that Sean goes for it just to guarantee him that round win. I mean, for Sean, I know that maybe he's just toying with Crummy a little bit. Maybe he's just trying to save the tyres, force him to burn his out a little bit. Maybe Crummy's making him work for it. We come on to start lap number 13 of this race, 16 minutes in. Absolutely about a car width's left between them on the line. Lindsell down the inside, gets the move done on Crummy, tries to come back to get the up and under there. But Lindsell blocks it nice and well. Puts a bit of foot on the brake. Covers that inside line. Crummy saying the Pom has nothing. Herbie macros. No, he just pushed the car, mate. That's all he did. Johnny Rowe in the chat saying Dirty Jack strikes again at the last turn. Jack was saying didn't see it, so nothing happened. Wasn't on stream, so it didn't happen. That's why we made sure we called Kyle's lap 1 incident at turn 1. If we hadn't, he'd claim it didn't happen. As Lindsell now leads proceedings, Crummy in behind him. So yeah, we're making some nice meat sauce here tonight with Italian tomatoes, some nice herbs, bit of onion. Put it all together. Make a nice baked pasta dish for myself for the week. Gonna be a good time. As Lindsell now gets past Sheafy here, laps him. Rowe's coming up on him here. This is actually for position with Sheafy and Rowe. So these guys are going to be able to have a good battle as well. Crummy's been caught up in the traffic a little bit here in towards turn 1. Tries to sneak it up the inside. Doesn't want to let Lindsell run away with it. Sheafy's forced wide. Rowe now comes on through. Takes P8 on the road. As the bottom 3 cars are now out of this race, including Mitchell, Morris and Gretsch. I do believe Gretsch is not coming back on track. I actually think he's blown his engine in the pit lane. As Ferguson all in his lonesome P3 on the road. Crummy saying Sheafy colourblind to blue flags. Crummy, if someone has blue flags, they don't have to pull over and let you pass. They just can't attack you for the move. They don't have to pull out of the position. It's if you go for the move, they don't have to defend it. I know it's the battle for the lead and he's come out of the pits, but he doesn't need a... And he had an approaching driver who was battling him for position as well. It's not necessarily like he wanted to give up his racing position to let you guys through as well. He's trying to do it as best he can. Lindsell is now starting to pull away at the front of the field. It's 21 dead on that last lap. He's gone 8/10 faster than Luke Crum over that last lap. As Gretsch is pulling out some burnouts in the pit lane. Read the sporting code. Oh, fantastic. As Lindsell's now already built the gap out to about a second here over Crum, and it doesn't appear that he has any answer to this at the moment. And the Herbie straps are starting to pay off here for the 554 of Sean Lindsell. And at the moment, Jordan Ferguson will be winning the round if he finishes where he is. With about 5 minutes to go in the proceedings here. Tomlin, though, has massive pressure from Fireland in behind. Fireland is battling it out now for P3, in the running here tonight for the round performances. It's fun you have a Motorsport Australia licence, Crummy. I don't have one. But I've read how blue flags work. Jackos has one. Tomlin just starting to pull away from Filan now. So the battle now for P3 of the round is between Filan and Anderson, who's in behind him. And I do believe if Filan gets past Tomlin, gets that P4 on the road, he will claim that P3 in the round. They do have right away to the racing line, but they don't have to pull it out of the move, Crummy. That just means that they don't have to defend the move. So the blue flag car can't defend. They just have to if someone goes for the move, they have to let it happen. Regardless, it's just easier just into a corner. You run it out wide, let the faster car down the inside. It's just easier to do that when you're under blue flags. Ferguson's really starting to check out from these guys. Out of respect, they should make it a lot easier. And as I'm saying, you just run it wide into a corner and let them come down the inside. As the battle with Filan and Tomlin continues on. Final 5 minutes of this race now. As Lindsell looks to have this one locked up by nearly 4 seconds on the road. As Filan continues on, trying to chase down Tomlin here. He wants to try and claim P3 in his very first round here tonight. It'll be P4 on track in this race, in both races. But it would be good enough for P3 in the standings of the championship. At the moment, Ferguson will be leading to Crum and then to Filan. Anderson will be involved, so would Lindsell. Not sure where the other drivers will be seated at the moment. Ferguson continues on. So final couple minutes here, they've all started to spread out a little bit. As we look ahead to the checkered flag of this race in just a couple of minutes' time, as Sheafy's had a bit of a tangle in the background, spun himself around, self-inflicted. Unfortunately for him, this is now going to make his night go from bad to worse. He just tries to hold it up. Anderson and De Vries trying to get into a nice little battle. I was saying, heard Ferguson won more than his EPL team this week. It's true. He did. Ferguson won more than Manchester City did on the weekend. How does that feel? I'll be sure to ask him about that in the booth when he hops in. Oh, he was not very happy about that one. As Anderson starts to check out from De Vries in the background. So this battle here, this is the close one on track. Filan's finally gotten past Chop. Trying to hold him off here up towards turn number 1. Only 1.5 minutes to go in this race. Should be 2 laps left. Now they've crossed the line and this battle continues. Chop trying to go for the switch back. Bit of a wiggle though, as he thought Filan was going to come across on him. Managed to catch it in the end. We are about a minute away from the timer expiring. De Vries has had a moment in the background. He's now dropped off the back of Anderson. He's got Sheafy in behind him. The battle with Filan and Tomlin continue for P4 on the road. This is for P3 in the round. And P3 in the championship, really. Filan had to finish ahead of Tomlin to claim this leading into round number 2. He looks to have locked that up. As Lindsell comes around the final couple of corners, he's going to cross the line. We're going to have 1 lap to go at Donington Park here tonight. Barney's not even waving the white flag. I don't know why. He should claim it's the final lap. Maybe Barney's had a couple of too many bores up there in the flag booth of this race. But Lindsell leads to Crum, to Ferguson, to Filan, to Tomlin, to Anderson, to De Vries. To Roe to Sheaf there, the rest of our running order. Gretsch, Morris out of race number 2. Mitchell out of the round as he had a moment in race number 1, never returned to circuit. Astros, Barney is not respecting the boards. He's had way too many of them up there. He's unable to do his job properly at the moment. Not showing white flags when he should have. Just poor form honestly. It's just, it's not right if you ask me. Needs to do better. As Lindsell comes round up towards the final chicane once again for the final time here tonight. 19 laps under our belt here for race number 2. 25.5 minutes out of 25 minutes here. So he comes through the final couple of corners. Sean Linzell, the starting pole position, race number 1, jumping the start, getting a podium, makes the comeback in race 2, and takes out the second win of the season. 2 winners across 2 races so far. Crum's going to come over the line in P2 ahead of Jordan Ferguson, but Ferguson is going to claim the round win for round number 1, and he will have the championship lead going into round number 2 next week out at Knock Hill. Pulls it up in the pit lane. Oh, bit of a knock there from Tomlin as Anderson comes up through and absolutely skyrockets into the catchments. A wild and chaotic end to that one. But Jordan Ferguson is your round winner for round number 1 here. Crummy took out P2 for the round, Filan P3. The podium for race number 2, of course, was Linzell to Crum to Ferguson, but it was enough for Jordan. Take home the round win. We tried catching the battle chop. We tried getting it. Bryson in chat saying the boars never have respect for anyone. You got to respect the boars to get the respect from them. We have got our race winner in the green room. We'll drag him in just a moment's time, as we are now on board with him. Mr. Ferghosen, welcome into the green room. Good race from yourself there. I just realised I need to unmute you because they can't hear you at the moment as I do that. Great to have you in here. Big Dog, of course, getting more wins this weekend than Manchester City did. Surely that's got to be some helpful thought after losing the FA Cup yesterday.
Yeah, it's it makes up for it a little bit anyway, only a little bit, but yeah, I'm very happy to at least take out the first round, that's for sure.
So what was the thought process? Obviously, Crummy was leading that final race. You were P3. You had the round wrapped up at that point, but Sean then made it a bit easier for you, getting past him and really wrapping it up for you in a tight little bow. How was it driving these cars at this track? Obviously, it's a tough little circuit. These are tough little cars to get around. They're really basic machinery. How was it kind of getting to grips in your ends here at Donington and then trying to get used to them now looking forward into the rest of the season as well?
Yeah, well, they're very twitchy, can be, the rear end on them can be a bit lively under power, and they're they're a bit of a challenge to drive, especially around a track such as this one as well. But they're very fun as well at the same time.
So obviously Knock Hill next week, and another track we could claim is in your ends. Well, it's a bit north of your ends. How do you feel around Knock Hill? Have you done much racing around there? And how do you think the Legend, if you have raced around there, how do you think it's going to handle that track?
Well, yeah, I've raced a few different categories around there. It's I reckon it's going to be fairly well suited to it actually as well, because Knock Hill's quite a small track as well, so it'll suit the cars quite well, and it should keep the action pretty tight as well.
And Johnny in the chat saying this is the most calm and quiet he's ever heard you speak, Jordan. Is it because you've only recently woken up?
No, I'm just nervous more than anything else, probably.
Oh, mate, you're all right. You're all right. It's all right, Big Dog. You're okay.
Oh, I know.
Well, mate, let us know anyone you want to give a shout out to helps you get on track. Anything else, obviously, within the realm of good reason as well that you want to give a shout out to, you can. And congratulations on your round win here tonight as well.
Well, thank you very much. Just a big shout out, really, to all the boys at Velocity who just help keep us going, keep us on track, keep us all entertained, and yeah, also Cheeky Squirt and Alcohol Holder also, and Pedro.
Very good, mate. Now, how did it feel to have Jack Oz try and murder you, but he ended up actually sending himself to the Ned Whiskey Bar?
It felt nice.
He touched you the right way there through that incident.
Yes, that's for sure.
All right, mate. Well, I'll let you go. Thanks for coming to have a chat to me here this afternoon. Great job for round number 1. Best of luck for Knockhill next week, but if I don't get a chance to speak to you in a broadcast setting, best of luck for the rest of the season as well.
Thank you very much, mate, and thank you for the broadcast and everything you do.
No worries, mate. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our round 1 winner there for Jordan Ferguson. Great to have him come and have a chat to me here this afternoon as we trickle our way into our evening here in Victoria. I do so appreciate your time, though, being here with us tonight. You'll not just be stuck with me for the whole season, though. We will get some co-commentators in here throughout the season to sort of do the first one solo, give you a nice little preview of the series, of course, going forward, and just trying to get ourselves up to track with how the season's going to be running, who's going to be involved, of course, and how we're going to be going forward with this one as well. But Knockhill next week, you don't want to miss any of that action. So if you're hesitant on doing it, it is free if you do it. But hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon. I would so appreciate it. And I've just disappeared that for no reason. It would help notify you whenever we do go racing. Obviously, Sunday afternoons, 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time is the time that these races go live for the Legends World Challenge. It's been an absolutely phenomenal round number 1 out at Donington Park. We so appreciate your time once again here. We'll see you guys next week for Knockhill. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.